not a ceasefire. And then
So something that will be
giving up entirely. That's okay too.
Are you closer? Are you possible that
Certainly possible. Give up. That's possible.
Is the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and the Secretary of Defense drawn up plans if Iran were to attack U.S. bases or do any damage to
Can I ask you, because there's been some skepticism, is there any guarantee that if the U.S. did get involved militarily, that a U.S. bomb could destroy Iran's nuclear program and facilities?
Look at you. There's no guarantee. But you're saying a guarantee on what?
Do you think if the U.S. got involved militarily, it would actually wipe out Iran's nuclear program, or where's your assessment of that?
Their programs are not being wiped out.
Right, viewers, here of course U.S. President Donald Trump. He is in fact speaking at the Air Force One. He's addressing questions that are taken by the reporters. Let's once again dip in to what he's saying, if our PCR crew can nat him up again.
Has the gang debate,
Nobody's slowed up so far.
has the gang debate been notified about what's coming in the next couple days?
We're talking to them.
What can you do?
It's not necessary.
What can you do in Washington that you couldn't do in Canada?
Just be a little bit, I think, well-versed.
Check this out. In just a second, I'm going to speak with a different accent. Just between you and me. But first,
cities right now. That's where they are. And that tends to be where the really bad ones are. The murderers, you know, they've let in 11,888 murderers. People that killed people. Biden allowed that to happen. So the Democrats allowed it to happen. Biden didn't know he was even around.
Question on your Senate confirmations. With all the military actions, there are only 3 of your 6 sub-cabinet members at the Defense
Yeah,
Department.
I'd like to see the nominations go faster. The Democrats hold up our nominations.
Are you going to talk to Senator
Yeah, I
Clinton
will.
about
And
that?
John Thune's doing a very good job. You know, I've got a lot of people, but he's doing a very good job. The Democrats, if we had George Washington up for approval, the Democrats would take maximum time, every hour, every minute, to delay him as long as possible. If we had a combination of Abraham Lincoln and George Washington, they would go max. It's called max time.
Mr. President, you've always said that you don't believe Iran should be able to have a nuclear weapon. But how close do you personally think that they were to getting one? Because Tulsi
Very
Gabbard
close.
testified at March that the intelligence community said Iran wasn't building a nuclear weapon.
I don't care what she said. I think they were very close to having it.
I got us one on. You were at this beautiful scene for the meeting, and you said a lot about acquiring Canada as a state. Did anybody talk to you about that? And where
I
are
think
you
it's a
now?
much better deal from Canada, but you know, it's up to them.
You let
They're
down?
going to have to pay a lot of tariffs and things. They're going to have to pay a lot of money for the dome, for the Iron Dome. They want to be a part of it. We may make a separate deal on that, by the way. We discussed that, yeah, on the dome. That may be a separate deal. They want to be at 71 billion. They're going to pay.
There could be a dome thing separate from the
They'll
tariff.
be in the dome. Yeah, they'll be under the dome.
And were you open to negotiating with the Iranians right now, or do you want to wait?
I don't know. I've been negotiating. I told them to do the deal. They should have done the deal. The cities have been blown to pieces and we've lost a lot of people. They should have done the deal. I told them do the deal. So I don't know. I'm not too much in a mood to negotiate now.
Do you think you'll be in the Situation Room tomorrow at any
Yeah.
point?
Tomorrow morning, girl. While you're sleeping. Goodbye,
Tell us why
everybody.
why did you come to evacuate Tehran? You know, you posted
Yeah,
evacuate.
I think it's safer.
Are you going to
There's a lot of bad things happening there. No, I think it's safer for them to evacuate.
On Minnesota, there were a lot of horrific details that came out today about the suspect who's been charged there. Have you called the governor yet or been able to speak to any of them?
I don't really call him. He appointed this guy to a position. I think the governor of Minnesota is so whacked out. I'm not calling him. Why would I call him? I could call him and say, hi, how you doing? The guy doesn't have a clue. He's a mess. So, you know, I could be nice and call him, but why waste time?
The big beautiful bill, sir. Can you talk about what the
We're
Senate?
doing well with a big,
How's it looking in the Senate? They
great,
proposed some
big,
changes.
beautiful bill. But
Are you okay with the change?
I hear so far it's going well.
Are you going to extend
Look, if it doesn't get approved, 68% tax increase, and I think the Democrats would have to, you know, they'd be, because we won't get Democrats. Think of it, we're giving the biggest tax cut in history. Instead, you have the biggest tax increase in history. 68%.
Are you going to extend the TikTok deadline again?
Probably, yeah. Probably have to get China approval. I think we're
Do
good.
you have the legal basis?
I think
to do that?
President Xi will ultimately approve it.
And you have the legal basis to do that?
Yeah. We do.
Two more on Iran. Is there any sign that North Korea is getting more involved in helping Iran, or is Russia getting more involved in
I
military?
haven't seen it. No. I don't think anybody wants to get involved. It's a mess.
What about Americans?
All right, welcome back. We have some breaking news coming in. Israeli strikes against Iran.